We need again and again to be reminded of the great work that God has done in redeeming us. That is what has been presented before us here in Ephesians. We need to remember the pit from whence we have been dug. We must never lose sight of the fact that we were hopeless sinners. As Paul is telling here in this portion, as he is demonstrating to us the mighty power that God has shown in saving us, the very power that raised up Jesus Christ from the dead, has been manifested toward everyone who has become a child of God. And that was the only power that could save people. It was the only thing that could be done. That God himself had to come down in the person of his Son, become a human being, and bear our sins upon the cross, so that we could have the sins taken away and his righteousness given to us. And then he rose from the dead and was taken up to heaven, and the very power that raised him up from the dead is what had to be manifested toward us to get us out of the hopeless situation in which we were. Because as we were told here at the beginning of this chapter, we were dead. Dead in trespasses and sins. By virtue of our having been born as human beings, we were in the place of complete and utter isolation from God. We had no desire for God. We were caught in a hopeless situation, in bondage to sin. We had a sinful life. Our very life stream was polluted. And we walked in sin. We lived, and we lived according to the course of this world, with this world system which is at enmity with God, which controls the people here. We were all in that. And then also under the influence of Satan, his control being worked in us, under the control of the lusts of our flesh. And in the place, because of this enmity against God and all our sin, we were doomed. No hope. As it will go on further down here in Ephesians 2, it'll give the description of the Gentiles who were lost without hope and without God in the world. I think that you can't draw a darker picture than that. It is not possible. Now, it's sort of dim light to us, but I believe that there is nothing more tragic that can be said of any person than such a statement as that, as being without hope and without God in this world. Now, that's where we were. But then we have that transition that came in verse 4, but God. But God.